Welcome back. President Trump calling out Republicans in Indiana for going against the GOP-favored redistricting measures in their state. The president writes this on Truth Social. Governor Mike Braun perhaps is not working the way he should to get the necessary votes. Any Republican that votes against this important redistricting, potentially having an impact on America itself, should be primaried, writes the president. The governor responded on X after a call with the president saying, quote, I remain committed to standing with President Trump on the critical issue of passing fair maps in Indiana to ensure the MAGA agenda is successful in Congress. Indiana's state legislators must show up for work and take a public vote for fair maps to counter the gerrymandering happening in California and Illinois. Joining me now, the man himself, Indiana Governor Mike Braun. Governor, great to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Well, that must have surprised you when you saw President Trump mention you in a Truth Social post on redistricting.
Not really, because he is that frustrated that the president pro tem of our Senate, Rod Bray, same guy in his leadership group that fought me tooth and nail to get real property tax reform done. We eventually did it, but it was like pulling teeth to get it done. So digging in again here, when the Speaker of the House, Todd Houston, and his crew already have the votes, are willing to do it, and I think are going to get maps out there. You know, he's got himself in a hole. He's digging it deeper. So I understand why the president's frustrated. I called the session, which is the one thing constitutionally I can do. We're going to keep working. And when it was getting close to where we were flipping senators, that's when he pulled the plug of taking it to a public discussion. So we're in the early innings of this discussion. And if he's going to dig in on this, I think it's going to hurt Indiana in terms of the great relationship we do have. President Trump is fully on board. Other states have done it. Why our state Senate is digging in with Rod Bray leading the charge is hard to understand. So
Governor, tell us what the difference is in terms of the map that you want to make sure is the one that is being used versus the efforts on the Democrat side to stop any new maps in Indiana.
What underlies it across the country is they have gerrymandered so effectively that they can't do much more of it. Any of the people showing up at these meetings or discussions are Democrats, moderate, liberal, independents. Take Illinois, for instance. It's now 47-53 in the last election. Used to be closer to 42-58. So even blue places are changing. Of their 17 congressional seats, 14 of them are Democratic. You look at the 6 bluest states outside of California in the Northeast, with about 3 times the electoral votes, they've been fully gerrymandered for decades. President Trump is trying to even the playing field, and other states, Republicans, have done it. Texas, Missouri, North Carolina, Utah, Ohio, more to come. Our Indiana State Senate has made, and we're a deep red state, has made it difficult from the beginning. They've tried to do whatever it takes to avoid it. To me, it's short-sighted. It's going against the governor, the president. The VP's been in here twice. What more do you need?
Yeah, great point all around. Governor, look, I want to switch gears, ask you about your priorities, because the state, Indiana, is going full steam ahead into nuclear energy. First American Nuclear announcing it will establish its company headquarters in Maine Energy Park in Indiana. This would be the state's first nuclear energy park and its first to operate in a closed fuel cycle in American history. Why is this so important to you? You've been pushing to take the lead in the country in nuclear energy. I know this is part of President Trump's agenda. He wants all hands on deck, nuclear included. But give us your sense of why it's important for your state and constituents.
So those 6 years in the Senate, I led the discussion from the conservative side on how we get all of the above done, and then fighting Democrats with the Green New Deal. And look how they pushed policies that cost us a fortune. Finally, they've had an epiphany that nuclear is the only way you can get base load and not have greenhouse gases. So we've got enabling legislation already in place. We're the biggest state per capita on advanced manufacturing, and we've got the workforce pipeline. President Trump, Secretary of Energy Chris Wright, we're all in line here. I ran a business for 37 years. We're going to make sure Indiana is one of the leading states to actually get it done.
Yeah, so tell me about that, getting it done. Does that mean all new investment into Indiana for that and new jobs? What does it mean on a practical level?
Number one, it means who's going to have the template in terms of what you need to do legislatively or administratively, and we are ready there. So then it's going to be who can you get into your state, and we've got 5 investor-owned utilities, and do it in a way that's not going to raise rates. So these hyperscalers and utility companies are going to need to do it and do it entrepreneurially so it doesn't create a dust up that you're raising electric rates. And we are already tackling that. Whoever gets all those complicated variables in place will be the first to get this really great base load in place. It's still mostly in the lab, but it's been the same principle that's powered our aircraft carriers and our submarines. And Purdue University is on the leading edge of it as well.
Very good. Governor, you also recently authorized the deployment of roughly 300 National Guard troops to Washington next month to aid the president's crime crackdown in our nation's capital. Crime in Washington has plummeted since the president sent in the National Guard, from over 14,000 reported incidents to under 7,000. What can be done here?
That is amazing because, again, serving there 6 years, I remember when congressmen were getting carjacked. And that bold move by President Trump, and happening in other places around the country, shows it can be done. It begs the question, why aren't these liberal cities doing it without the nudge? Great example, happy to send our guard there to relieve the guardsmen from other states that have been showing what it takes to make our cities, streets safe. Thanks to President Trump, that's why it's getting done. Happy to have our guardsmen go there.
Todd Pyro, jump in here because we've seen this situation across the country. You've got certain mayors and governors on the left pushing back against President Trump's efforts. And look what happens when they go in. Crime goes down.
Yes. So simple.
Todd Pyro?
Yeah, yes, Governor, quickly, do you think that this will become an issue in the midterms? I'm viewing everything today through the lens of the midterms, but I can't imagine if you're a voter in one of these cities and you have been helped by having a National Guard presence in your city, state, whatever, I can't imagine you're not going to want to vote for the people that allowed that to happen. Your thoughts on that, Governor?
No doubt about it. That's going to become an issue. The fact that the border has been completely plugged is going to be an issue. The other side of the aisle is faster-footed. They focus on stuff that they think can deflect from the real issues. But what we're doing is showing what can be done. Begs the question, why aren't they doing it? And why would we want more of their policies now that you got Jasmine Crockett's, AOC's, and Mamdani now leading their party? President Trump's right on these issues. When we get closer to the midterms, those will all be fleshed out, and they will make the case, and I think that will make the difference.
All right, we will leave it there, and of course, we'll be watching all the efforts. Governor, always a pleasure to see you. Thank you, sir.
You bet.